like the red stripes, and then there's a couple of people in this development, and they're like the blue stars, and then they
Mm.
all meet in this plaza and like battle with
Yeah,
like football, and it is nothing
so
like in America. It's so
no,
cool.
really. No, so we have that all over Europe, sadly. Fans who want to fight each other for no good reason. And that's what
But
that's
like all in one city,
no. So every city has this rubbish
like the
behavior.
different neighborhoods in one
Yeah,
city that
yeah,
like fight each other. Okay.
Italy might have
That's the only
some of the worst fans because they do like the ultras. They will come with weapons and the people who go to football just go and fight in the alleyways in the bits I don't
thing.
want to see them
They got
fighting.
the young man hormones up.
Mm. No, they're all ages, policemen, and they're even also literally also people's dads, brothers. If you think of what men do, they're there. Some rich men that's they're sad that way. That's how they get their kicks, right? They go and
Are we
bully
thinking
other.
another book idea?
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. No, there's
I
no
mean,
book out.
a fictional book between like two different warring communities. I feel that would sell.
There's
You
no
know?
victory. We'll come back to that in a second. Hold that thought.
Okay,
Hold
let
that
me
thought.
calm my dog down.
Coach, sorry, coach. I didn't know you were in the studio, so I don't know why. I saw you come in, but I forgot you were here. So I'm glad you're here, coach. You're an author. I want to hear your thoughts. And Miss Angelica says, I loved Greece, and to the custody buff, or what? I don't know what. No. Okay. So what I most, she likes being in the ruins of the Corinth. Okay. And Athens, I'll take that. Wonderful food. Yeah, best of time, but very expensive. Sorry, here, Miss Angelica. Either way, you're back, Miss Angelica. You're back. You're back. That's important. And you're here.
Angelica, so I'll talk to you offline, but I am curious. Do they serve dinner at like 11 o'clock at night, like so many other places? When I'm just like, yo, I usually am bed at like 9:30. What is going on? Like the dinners last like 5 hours over there. But I just was curious.
In Europe now, I guess now the Mediterranean people, Italian, Spanish, and so on, they have a siesta thing apparently. So we try. Miss Angelica's book is Max's Quest for the Lost Treasure. If you have never read that book, connect with her. It is on Amazon. You can buy the book. You get to enjoy this treasure quest story of this little boy who meets pirates and all sorts. Of course, he has Miss Angelica dressing up as a pirate every so often. You have to look out for that for sure. Right. So no, the world. Right. Let's have the conversation we want to have. Right. Look, I say the whole point. I think the backdrop to today's conversation is the fact that a lot of people will write books, publish books, and then they wonder why the book is not selling, why people are not buying the books, why they're not achieving what they wanted from the books. You see, as Dr. Leslie says in her handbook, and she says, over 75%, or 3 out of 4 authors can't answer these questions. These vital questions that you must ask yourself and answer before, during, or even after you publish a book. You must answer this question. If you don't answer these questions, then you have no direction, you have no clear purpose, you have no reason for people to want to buy your book. So let's be smart and let's ask this question beforehand because these questions help us position our book and ourselves as authors in the world of our readers. If you answer these questions, you will write and publish a book that hits the mark and is tied to the results that you want. More importantly, it'll help you write the book that your readers want. And I can't say it enough. What your readers want probably more important than anything else. But of course, we're not all selfless. We're not all like Joni. We have our own reasons for writing a book.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
there is different types of books you can write.
yeah,
Ones that are more for you and your legacy, and then there's ones I for kind of educational instruction, and then there's fiction books and children's books. But fiction and children's books sell the best, as long as they're well written. So, but if you're writing your memoir, like that's a wonderful thing. That's a really wonderful thing. We can't hear you, Annie.
the memoir thing. I agree. Except, I guess if you're writing a memoir, I guess it's realizing potentially it's more difficult to get people to be interested in your memoirs,
Mm.
unless
Unless you're
unless
like Britney Spears or something.
no, unless you think about them first. Let me ask a question. Let's go through the questions and you see what I'm trying to answer. I suppose the big question in your mind should always be, what do my readers want? And how am I going to give them what they want? Because people are not going to buy books because you've written it. They're not going to buy books because it's you. Yes, of course. When we do, when we do, when we do what we do at a book launch, when we do at this stage in the process, people will buy the books. But I'm saying, but as time goes on, when we're not publishing, when we're not marketing the book as hard as we used to, ultimately you have to realize the reason we read Shakespeare is because it serves a purpose, right? Whatever I say, I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying it has a purpose. It tells stories that resonates with people. And you can read Macbeth. Even if you don't like it, there's something there for all of us to learn something from. Anyone who's ever read such books knows what I mean, right? So your book must have a greater purpose than just you telling your story. Okay, so Coach David and so my beloved super author, who's here, right? I'm saying, really,
Yeah.
what the
And
first
Coach
question?
David, I loved your book.
Excellent.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
I
you,
got
thank
through
you.
it. I loved it. You did a great job.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you for that. Thank you so much. And that is the bigger point. What you just said now, Joe, is more important than any dollar
I
or any
agree.
pound sterling I could make from the book. This comment
Hmm.
is far more important than anything you could ever give me.
Yes.
The
I
first
agree.
the first thing as an author is, are you even passionate enough about this work?
Hmm.
In the areas of the prophetic and helping people to hear God and your intuition and your genius, I've walked this path from my 13th birthday.
Hmm.
I started a journey trying to understand those things, trying to help people from 14. Today, in my mid, that is the only way to do it. Is it in your crusade? Is your soul in it?
Hmm.
You feel sad when you leave the planet that you didn't write that book. That, I think, for me, should be the first place to start from. If you start from money, you will soon burn out.
Hmm.
And to prove this to you, you won't believe I didn't know the economics. I had books on Amazon, and he was the one who helped me for the first time to understand economics. I said, Annie, is it that small? That was my response to him. I was genuinely surprised. He said, yes, it's that small, man. So, ooh, really? What was that? You mean this energy was for this? Yeah, yeah, it was for that. But you see, what the moment you said this statement out now, it killed any consideration of any negativity in my soul. That's the first place to write from. We must write from the soul, something deep. Anytime Paulette is talking about children, anytime you're talking about your subjects, Joe and Michelle B and Michelle R, there's a life force. Anytime when any handles watch and when any picks a book, he takes the book like a baby. And he holds a book like that. He holds a book like that. There's a way he holds the book. I'm a psychologist. At the level of neuros. He holds the book with some baby. Said, "That's my book." That's the way he does his hand. That's my book. That's what you see behind. There's a body language of someone that can murder if you do stuff against that book, and that heart will show. Every empire is built on the soul of the emperor. The moment the soul of the emperor begins to wane, the fringes of the empire begins to wane. When the empire's soul is strong, the empire begins to grow. The book must come from the empire of the soul. That's my opinion. That's the first thing.
Yeah, no, thank, no, let's start there, and then we'll come back. It's a huge point to make, Coach David. A great place to start. Let's unpick it step by step. How's that? All right,
Yeah.
Joni.
Yes.
I suppose that the way I would explain, or I understand what Coach David just said, which is huge, right? Is that there's always that question for everything we do. I think these days,
Yeah.
what's your why? Why have you written this book? What is in you that means that you have to write the book? Go on,
I
Joni.
I don't think you could write a quality book without having the passion behind it.
Mm,
So whether it be a personal reason or an intellectual reason and something you have studied, which clearly Coach David has. I studied a lot in kind of prophetic wealth, prophetic advocacy, that sort of thing. Let's say he uses the word prophetic a lot, all right? And and I really do think you got to lead with your heart, and so but then I really do think like you have to be very conscious of doing the research before about what it's going to take to become a bestseller, because Paulette and I both we went to some who knows where they are located. They say California, but they were just a kind of a scam book artist, and I paid too much money for that, and nothing has happened. And so then I turned to Annie, and I'm like, "Yo, brother, I should have not done you dirty like that."
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So I
Everyone to
did
me.
that well years ago,
Yeah.
but also it just so everyone knows, if you're writing a memoir, it is going to change in 2 years. Your life story will change. It just is inevitable.
Mm.
Your intellect will change. Your viewpoints might change. And so that's something that you are going to have to deal with when it comes time to advertise your book, which is another thing. So passion, thinking about what books work, you're looking for money, and then advertising it the proper way, and then thinking about how your book wants to look like. Uh, do you want it like on the storefronts of like Barnes and Noble or whatever, at children's bookstores, at libraries? I really like the point, which I would like for you to make again, about registering your book with the National Library, because that's a really cool thing that I had no idea about. But yeah, I just really think about it takes you to write a book, but it takes a lot of other people to get it out there.
Yeah.
So it's not just going to be you. And so, and you have to be committed to, at least in the beginning, like just putting some words down and resisting AI.
Yes, I agree with you. You know, we can all write books with AI, my friends. We get it. You know, we all can. You know, so every author must know that now, right? They can just you can do a search for this, copy and paste it into a document, search for that, and AI might even give you the chapters automatically. You know, because
I will.
right, there's something there,
Who
right?
wants to read that? I could get
Right,
that. I
boring.
mean, it's so boring. It's so like it feels like a bot,
It's
like that you're
generic,
reading.
generic, Joan. It's
Uh,
generic. No one's a generic book.
just if I can make one point, everyone knows that AI can write a term paper, AI
Mm.
can write a book, AI can do a lot of good things to give you just background information if you are researching, whatever, but it needs to be your voice. And your voice is just enough. That is absolutely enough.
Yeah, no, look for sure. I mean, when we say what's your why, sorry, my
I
phone's
love
ringing.
Coach David's profile photos so much.
That's all right. That's
I
all right.
mean, I want to be buried in this suit. It's amazing.
So do I. I want to bury in this suit. This one.
Look at that
I
suit.
love. I
So
would love a
cute.
suit like that, Coach David. I'm always
It's
jealous.
like a
Really, I agree.
patchwork quilt.
I want a suit like that. I want
I want one too, but maybe
I
a
want
dress.
one.
Maybe
I
a
want
matching
one.
dress.
So I want a multicolored one like Coach David has, number one, because I think
Yeah.
that is just unique, right? I also want one in black and the
Okay.
patches, so you can see where the patches are. Are you with me? You can
I'm
see
with
where,
you.
right?
I mean, maybe just like one strip of like a light gray, but the rest all black. Like just like Yeezy.
I'll take that. No, not Yeezy, but I know what you mean. Not Yeezy. You know, I don't know.
Any just like walk into like a black tie party and be like, yo,
yeah. Look at me. Don't look at me.
be like, yo, I'm Nigerian and I'm free to say it.
Wow, they look at you funny. All you can say to that Coach David, I'm sure, would say to him, this is a tender suit, right? They just look at you. You actually have it made like that?
I just want it. I
Anyway,
have my sewing machine actually next to it, my computer here, and I'm like, how do I make this for myself?
you
But I can
can.
make it in a
I'm
maxi
sure you
dress style.
can. Right. Let's get back to our book thing.
Sorry.
I think our book thing
It's
is
the
important.
photo just
Right.
disrupted my
As Coach Davis asked the questions, what's the meaning of the words in your why statement? That's important, right?
Yep.
Again, it's easy to misunderstand and to undercook your why. Yes, you want to write a book about X, Y, Z. It's fine. I get that. That's all right, right? You know, I guess there's deeper questions. Of course there are. That's what the other four questions that we're going to ask ourselves before we start are, right? But no, at the heart of this is there's a question that I think many people don't answer, which is why you? Why are you the one to write this book? Why? What do you know that other people don't know that makes you the right person to bring this book to the world? Again, when Coach David said his words, your why, your passion, there is something about you know what do you know that others don't know. We'll talk about AI just now, Joni. I'm saying AI doesn't know what you know. I assure you, AI knows what everyone else knows because all it does is gather information from around the web, right? It crawls the web for information to give you that whatever it gives you. So what it's giving you is not unique. It's not unique to anyone. It's almost general knowledge, right? but it just it's pre-written for you. And I say, no, we really do need to ask ourselves, why me? Why me? Why this book? Why this story? Why
And
now?
yeah,
Yeah, go on, coach, please.
And everyone has a why me.
yeah,
Every human
Uh,
is unique.
yeah,
But
Everyone has a story to tell, but you gotta reach in there and be like,
yes.
I was at this like football game and people were fighting from different neighborhoods and like I barely escaped with my life. That sounds fun. That sounds fun to read. But everyone is unique. Every single person.
Look, the football story. If you're an ultra, yes, the ultras, they're crazy. They live for their team, support their team. They live to go and do the fighting. They live to, I don't know, to win wars and throw flares. I don't get it myself.
But
That
like
is
it's like a modern day, I don't know, you like the Scottish versus the British and just like battleships and just like
it's only football, Joni. It's only football. I
apparently
would
people
never
get
get it.
killed over it. I don't know.
Coach David would never get it because we're just not that way inclined. This is why I'm saying you have to ask yourself, why me? That's not my.
Why
I'll never.
me? Why me? Because you are special.
Yeah, but I can't tell that story. I said because it's not my life. I don't live it. I have nothing to do with it. All I
and
can
that's the
is from a distance.
yes,
And-
I agree with you, Johnny. You said it already. Your why comes out of you naturally.
Mm, mm, mm,
It's not something you go to a purpose school to craft. The words born within the words interpret you. And
mm,
a lot of people are going towards things like AI to try and find themselves. You're going to get lost further.
mm,
Why are you going to get lost further? Because AI is going to throw many ideas at you. So even if an idea is yours, it's not sufficient reason to write a book about it.
mm,
Is that area your area of love and life?
mm,
Then you can get the support of AI to write. Yes, that's what's created for, by the way. Is to augment creativity. That's what's created for. But when 90% of the material is now AI, there's no
mm,
personal experience, there's no understanding. I wrote FinTech Black Box because I've been a student of futurism for a while. And I see the landscape changing. I see the game. The
mm,
game is not whether to make crypto popular or not. The game is to ensure that central banks lose authority of traditional hold of economies. That is the game.
mm,
Not crypto, not Bitcoin. However you achieve it, that's the first game. So I'm writing about fintech black box because ultimately all of the future is tech. And all of
mm,
tech, you either get paid or you are paying. So fintech is the melting pot of the future. Take a people's money and you've taken all they have. You've robbed them of everything. And that is my why. And a lot of people are just walking on the streets, not knowing what's about to hit us. And if a lot of us understand how these things are happening, maybe many more persons can be lifted out of poverty. Now, those things found me because I love studying the future. And I said, that's a place to start. And I've studied the future again for upwards of 30 years. I have material. If anybody wants to dare, I can tell you what's going to happen in agri-tech. Because that's what I spend. Look at the books around me. This is not optics. Look at the books around me. I'm not doing optics. Oh my God, I need to kill off the background so I can see. Look at it.
No,
Look at all
no,
the
we
books
say,
around me.
yeah, no,
Look at
I
the
say,
books around
we
me.
can see they're
My
big books.
libraries, my libraries, and that's batch one. I can turn my computer, I see batch two. My library in Nigeria at the last count were 2,000 books.
Wow.
The books I have in the UK is another 1,000. My wife, I went to South Africa. Maybe those my friends will be listening to me right now. My wife begged them and said, "Don't take my husband near a bookshop." They said, "Why?" I said, "On our bed, we
Mm.
are barely finding space to sleep. Half of the beds,
Shame
this
on you. Shame on you, coach.
I am not I'm not a pseudo intellectual. In fact, over the years, I've stopped talking or commenting about issues because people think that maybe I'm proud. No, I'm just able to listen critically because I read a lot of things. what concerns me, what does not concern me, what you call junk, because I'm
mm,
curious to know where we're heading as humanity. So when I say I'm in futurism,
mm,
I went for an MBA that was tilted towards futurism because I found myself loving the future and I've seen all my predictions come to pass. I told my friends, I
mm,
said, Trump is going to become president. I said, whatever you guys can do, 2 clear years. Some of them fighting me. The current president of Nigeria, I told my friends the same. Of course, I have other giftings of futurism. What I'm saying is, your predominant intellectual work, that your life will be defined, should come from a place of deep state conviction. If we take the book of you and we tell you to speak, will we encounter the same spirit? There's a spirit. There is the ethos, the chronos. There are 4 things. There's the ethos. Welcome, Prof. Good to see you, ma'am. Good to see you, ma'am. God bless you. There's the ethos. There's the chronos. I've forgotten
Good
the
morning.
third
How
one.
are you? I'm
I'm
Hey,
sorry.
fine.
hey, Dad.
I'm fine. Good to
yeah.
see you, ma'am. So there are 3 parts to the soul of the conversation. There's the chronos. There's the ethos, and I've forgotten the third one. The word, the letter, and the spirit.
Mm,
The 3 of them must be totally embodied by you. If
mm,
you were to be sitting in a class and people begin to ask you questions, can you impart the spirit of that thing?
mm,
Can people listen to you and they imbibe the spirit of it? Can you move someone from a skeptic to almost a believer in that persuasion in the shortest time possible? Do you have the, I'm sorry, it looks spiritual, but do you have the impartation of understanding? Look at what Joe said. Joe said, I read your book, and Paula gave me the same feedback that she said, what is this book? That's a skeptic. What did you write? And then she started turning the pages and she said, wow, I was impressed.
mm.
I mean, there are people that will never believe you. They say, oh, baby, you wrote everything with AI. I'm always laughing. It's taken me 30 years to put the first pen down. My first desire to write a book was at the age of 10. I never did until I was far above 40. My only regret, my mom is not alive to see me, because I remember she told me that she's going to help me publish my first book, but now she's gone to be with the Lord now, and so she couldn't see me do it. But what's my bigger point? The why is not what you craft in a seminar.
No.
It is in your soul. If
Yes.
you're an author, it comes out. And when you
Mm,
come from that perspective, how people would buy or how you will sustain the sales of it will come out.
mm,
There are people that they give them the book that they wrote, they themselves are going to throw it away.
mm.
That's
It's
what
true.
that's what Joe was saying. 3 years from today, if you pick your own book yourself 3 years from today, are you still going to be proud
Mm,
because your life is changing? So if you were to write your memoir now based on what, look, I used to criticize. Let me give you some examples. I used to criticize my dad and my uncles when I was very young for this thing you off the energy power lights,
mm,
bulbs. My dad will be taking off the bulb, so I would like be looking at it. Why are you taking off the bulb? Why you? He'll be telling us that when he was young, they didn't have electricity. I'm always telling him that, excuse me, that's your day. We are younger people now. Let's have lights on. So he will always be switching off the lights at my uncles. So I used to criticize them very well. I was about 17. When I faced him, I said, you should leave the lights on. I want to sleep all night with the light on, please. And guess what? I found myself offing the light. I found my hand, I found my hand doing like that. So I started laughing. I was laughing and laughing hysterically. My wife said, what's wrong with you? I said, I can't believe I just behave like my dad.
mm. Yeah, and in my house, it's my wife that does it all. She doesn't like it. I refuse. I turn them all on.
You understand? You can change. You change in life.
Yeah, yeah, of
You
course.
understand?
You grow up with
The things you criticized,
it.
you find yourself start doing them. But when it comes to what you should author, the word author has authority or origin embedded within it. What you should
Yeah,
author
I agree.
is a
I
matter
agree.
of conviction,
I
and
agree.
generally, it will be more than one book.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
It will be more
yeah.
than two because a fountain.
Mm,
Those are the signs of authorship. You will be finding a fountain as you are executing one book. Another book will be coming up. As
mm,
you'll be seeing the book, you'll be seeing the subjects left, right, and center. Those are
mm,
the hidden signs of authorship in your soul.
Mm.
That should be the signature to pick up and start writing.
I agree. I agree, and I think the biggest thing that you said, Coach, is that I think to write a book, you must feel and believe you are an authority in on that topic. Otherwise, what are you going to share with people, right? And there's the why. It's questions like, why is this message so important to you? You can clearly hear with Coach that he's passionate about his topic. I know, I know you all are. So,
Yeah.
Joni, what's your why for your Triceratops Sisters book?
Oh, yeah, the why is specifically so that I can um, uh, really give a good legacy for my father. It's not necessarily to make money or anything. It's because it was so important to me, and I would love it if other young girls have this in their school library and I get interested in dinosaurs like me. Like my dad and I would go back and forth about what who knows more dinosaurs. He was so competitive. Oh my gosh, my dad was so competitive. He's like, "You'll never beat me in a race. You never will." And I'm like, "Watch out, old man. I'm going to beat you right now. You done. You done." But no, it's just to show you really uh, gratitude towards my father. So that's it. And my memoir is really just so that I have, it's more for me, just to like get my story out because it's pretty extraordinary you know the way that American divorce works, and so that is definitely for me. Though I have a couple other stories in the works that one being an educational story for children learning Spanish and just about different food types and different cereals each or what they like for breakfast each day.
Mm.
And so it's all it has different whys, but ultimately it comes down to my own experiences, and that's all you can go by. If you just like put your finger on a map and be like, I'm going to write about Estonia and a
Mm.
castle in Estonia, and it's going to have a knight and a queen. And yes, if you're like a talented enough writer, yes, of course you could like probably craft a fictional story like that.
Mm.
But it does take a lot of research.
Yeah, and well, I think, and again, like Coach was saying, it takes a lot of believing that what you have to say is useful, right? It comes from the soul. There has to be an emotion behind your why. There has to be a reason that resonates with your soul. That's
Yeah.
that burns a hole in you. If you don't write this book, then it's going to burn a hole in you, literally.
I mean,
So we need
listen to any celebrity, like why they decided to move to be a director and direct this certain film. It's because of something in their life that connected to it. Or
to.
why did they donate to this specific charity? It's because something they saw or whatever connected to it. We are
For sure.
not AI. We are not doing the algorithms like what makes the most money. It's we as creative types, which authors are, it just really takes some heart, which is what Coach David was saying.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, this is not a thing that we just talk about. I'm saying I implore you to write down your why. Write down what's driving you to write this book. Write down all the reasons, and then really get to is it it's not absorb, become your why. See how the book's going to truly help you achieve that goal. That's some
Yeah.
of our other questions now. No, so but truly, no, buy into it, fall in love with the idea, and fall in love with you being that person to write the book. Now, Dr. CJ says she had a comment about AI as an indicator, the software that will tell you someone's using AI to write the story. And in academic publishing, you can only have 10 to 20% of your work that's done with AI. So she spoke to a VP. So, others said software about said software over the weekend, and she's used this software for decades. To I guess see where people are copying plagiarism. And critical thinking is important. Of course, it is. It really is. But I think we have to be the ones who have that capacity to bring this story to the world. But write down what your why is. Dr. Roxana, how are you doing today? Have I muted you? I probably have. No, you mean. Sorry, my bad.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Morning. We are here. It's really good to discuss about books. Why do we want to write a book? What are the whys? Who is the book for? What do we have to know before we do write the book? That's a good topic, though. That everybody needs to know. Is anybody still thinking about writing a book tomorrow? They need to know the whys. The first why for me is, what is the main idea? The theme. What's the main idea? What do I want to write? There must be a reason why you've been thinking about writing this book. What's the main idea? Who is the target audience?
Yeah.
Who is this book going to be for? Even before you start writing it, who is this book? I wrote a book on family wealth. I was thinking about women before I started writing the book, but I know that some men will actually uh, being some men will benefit from that, but who actually manages the house, whether people like it or not, is the woman. The woman is always laying the foundation. So it is the family wealth for women. So I believe that women from 40 and above will be using it to lay the foundations for the wealth in their family wealth, to build family income, to build wealth in the family. So I'm also working on writing a book. Annie is working on that. Writing a book on passive income strategies. So my book on passive income, the main theme again, you have to think about that. So the theme, why am I writing it? Because people need the passive income now. They need to know where to start. It's good for us to lay the foundations for them. If you're saying it, people start thinking about it. They might not know they need it. And then when they make up their minds, where do they start? If you can already lay that foundation for them, they have a place to start. And if they hear you talking about it all the time, oh, I heard that man or that the Joe talking about, I had coach talking about that. So they can actually search you or search the internet maybe and then see you a name there. People search, they can actually search the all the AIs, but when you go to AI and search, they will actually list the names. When I was thinking about writing a book on finance, when I got in there, they wrote the summary of Rich Dad and Poor Dad. And that's how I actually knew who wrote the book. So many other books, The Millionaire Near You. As a millionaire living near you. Do you actually know that? So
Yeah.
I saw so many topics. I started looking them up in Audible. I started reading them because actually reading them expanded my horizon. So if you don't start searching, you will not know. So I believe that these authors already know who they are, who are going to be the consumers of their book before they start. Okay, so what genre does your book fall into? What is the book structure? What is the structure of the book? How will the book be organized?
Mm.
And then that also goes into your publisher. I'm so happy that my publisher is a great publisher. I don't want to, but is any. So he has published all my books so far, and I don't see any reason to run away. So, but yeah, so I can just tell you that those things you're thinking about, you write them and you find somebody else, because one thing I do see is that there are self-publishers. I want to self-publish anywhere, but later in my life, I want somebody to be my publisher for some time, so that somebody can actually look into what I'm thinking about. Because it's not always that you know it all. I don't think I know it all. Even if I think I do, I want somebody to look into what I'm writing. Is it really, does it make sense, or do you think you can coin it? Do you have something? I want to know all the things. Is there any way I can change anything? So let me stop there. So I just want to.
Yeah, you make some amazing points, Professor. You really do, and I say we're going to come to many of them, I'm sure, as we go. Right? I think understanding your readers. That's where we're going to go next. That's number two. Question number two: who are they? So I'll definitely come back to that, right? But I think having clarity on your why and who you're trying to help. It's so important. So I meet many people virtually every day, and they'll say to you, "My book is for everyone." I'm like, "No, it's not. No book is for everyone." Even if it is for everyone, right? As you said so beautifully, Professor. Literally, you write for the people that you are aiming for. You have to have that clarity of mind. That now there's a group of people that you want to help, right? That's what your book is there for. And so you have to know who they are to speak their language. Yes, others can read the book and benefit, but ultimately, your target audience has to be clear in your heart and in your head. And so from today, put it on paper. Put it on paper, because when it comes to marketing, targeting, when it comes to even writing your book, you have to keep that reader in mind all the time. You have to, right? Tolu, welcome, Madam Tolu. Tolu's upwards of, was it 14 books now? Yes. Any the publisher at the market. Yeah, keep saying it, my friends. Keep saying it. Fame experts. Well done, Professor. Now, say, Coach, meet one of my author friends who is in the 20s for the bestseller count. Professor Roxana is definitely there. Tolu's there too. When you do more than one, then we will get the best sellers in the world. Now, Taluna we'll have a room tomorrow, Saturday, to join us. I think we're talking about what are the fears around marriage. What are you scared of? What are people scared of when it comes to marriage? Now, come and talk to us if that interests you. Let me come back to my topic. Now, Professor Roxana, we need to think about our readers. That's our readers are our primary. They have to be the why that's driving us, really. I accept what Jonas says. If your why is personal, then so be it. Jonas said very important words, which I don't think we can ignore, which is, frankly, I don't care how many people buy the book. What I want to do is get my story down on paper. For the legacy impact on her dad, on her family, and that people might enjoy reading, right? Especially girls. No, again, my point is that unless you sit down and write these things down, I'm not saying you're going to miss it, but I'm saying it's easy to forget, to bypass, to almost wander past, right? But gain clarity, write it down, and keep looking at it. As you're writing your book, look at your why. Let that truly drive you. Let that be what fuels you every day, and it will guide what you write. I promise you. And it might just give you that energy to keep going. Otherwise, it's very easy to get to experience hurdles I'm sure you've all seen people who want to write a book, they start writing it, and then it never happens because they
And
forget.
I
Go for it,
I
Jonah.
just offer one piece of advice. Okay, so I do know a lot of uh, people who are writers here in the States, in New York, Chicago, and a lot of them get together with writing groups so that they can kind of review their ideas. And so it's a really good idea if you have a group of friends, you go get coffee together, you can write a paragraph or whatever you can do, and get some other people's opinions because obviously this is your opinion, but still, if you wanted to appeal to more than just your opinion, definitely, get it written with someone else. I just like it's good to bounce ideas off other people, and also it's a very good way to not feel like isolated and stuck at home because some writers do just like kind of get stuck in their house. They're like, oh gosh, I haven't left all day. But anyways, that's just an idea.
Yep. I agree with you. As with anything in life, as with anything in life, um, a group or people who have done that now are doing it are very important. And that goes to Joanne's point and what Prof said earlier. Having a publisher helps you. Uh, for example, what sparked me to write was a friend of mine who told me when he saw three of my manuscripts, who said, "Are you going to reach your 50th birthday not writing anything?" Now that statement rang and disturbed my sleep for weeks until I decided to put those things to paper. Like I said, are you when you're in a company of someone that writes or writers, and Joe, those are very important things. I think they're on meetups and they're also on Eventbrite communities that write. To welcome, good
I
to see
I
you.
have met mine through Meetup. So
Yes, yes,
yeah, there's like
nice to
four
meet
of
you.
us that
Yes,
maybe once a month get together and I talk
yes,
about.
and they help you. Yes, I agree, and they really help you to actually crystallize your thoughts
Mm,
and begin the process of writing. If you don't have author friends, until you have author friends, you don't know what you're missing
indeed.
because they can help you. Thanks, Joe. What I was trying to remember the other time,
Mm.
every idea has the ethos, the pathos, the logos, the kairos, and there's a fifth one actually called chronos. That idea has the elements of the logos, the pathos, the kairos, the ethos, and the chronos.
What do they
If
mean? Ethos. We know what ethos means, I think.
ethos is the ethical, moral, legal framework
Mm,
around it. The pathos is the pathological, the thoughts, the realm of the soul, the realm of
mm,
will, emotion, intellect, and how it interfaces with the idea. The logos is the spirit or the revelatory part of it.
mm,
The kairos is the one you should take in time out of that body of knowledge, the one that meets the occasion in strategy, the advantage opportune body of wisdom. Let me borrow mathematical language now. You should not use Runjikuta when you should be using Fourier transform. Prof understands what I mean. There is an occasion where a particular knowledge is most useful.
mm,
There's the general body of knowledge, and there's the time when that is the occasion or the opportune one to use that meets the bullseye and will give you highest victory with the lowest amount of effort and energy. That is Kairos. Chronos is timing, general body of knowledge. So you're a philosopher, you're an engineer. That is the continuous one. That's Chronos. You know a lot of things spread over a long period of time. That's Chronos. So if you're an expert, these five dimensions of knowledge will be present with you about the subject matter. And the examinations of time have no real timetable. If
And
you're an
Coach
author,
David, this was from Aristotle.
yes,
I
Aristotle, yeah.
so it was in I am looking at a website from Prep Scholar right now. So this is not my knowledge; it's now my knowledge. But they stress the importance of structuring rhetoric around ideal place or ideal time and place, and it's become models of persuasion. And so they go through all that. I can list this website. It's actually quite good. But yeah, it's Aristotle who,
Who started it?
he 4,000 years before BC. I don't know exactly, but
He's a
I.
Greek, he's a Greek
It's a long
philosopher.
time ago. It's a long time ago.
You're right, Johnny.
It's a long time ago. Yeah, it's 4th century BC. And so that's pretty amazing. The feeling of a human can transcend so many centuries. It is amazing. And so many concepts the ancient Greeks had still are very relevant for today. And I find that just cool as fuck.
Yeah, no, I hear you. You know, don't be offended by Jodie swearing. She's making a point. You know, it's a good.
I
Look,
mean, I could swear a lot. It's not, I don't
it's
about
fine,
myself.
it's
I don't
fine. Look,
care.
I think Selena's point, your why is more important than your how. I like that. You know, I think there is just I think it dawns on me. I was going to cover all 5 questions. I'm not going to cover all 5 questions. We'll be here all day otherwise, right? So I'm going to probably get through one at a time, maybe 2 at most if we're lucky today, right? And then we'll carry on the other questions for the next couple of weeks, next couple of our live events.
And I really want to say thank you to Dr. Cecile, I believe it was. Leland, Dr. Leland. Her comments about AI, that was it's so relevant to me with having teenage kids and preparing for college. And so thank you for her comment.
Yeah, no, for sure. Madam Tolu, how are you doing? I've muted you. I'm sure it was me that muted you. No, you've muted yourself, so that's all right. So please unmute.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry.
Nice. Are we ready for tomorrow's room? Have you worked it out? I don't know what you're trying to do myself. Are we all right now?
Yeah, we'll do them side by side. It will work anyway.
So are you going to join this StreamYard?
Yes, and the YouTube.
Okay, so you're going to join StreamYard and YouTube. I guess I don't know if the settings will work, but until we try, we don't know, right?
Right.
My worry is that always that one platform will seize your sound and camera.
Yeah, but the problem is, when you're projecting. Sorry, this is completely a digression from your conversation. And you want to do this outside of this, or we're disrupting the flow of the conversation.
Go on. Okay, we'll talk later. We'll talk later and work out. But it's useful to everyone because everyone here potentially is going to do events, right? So that's why I don't discussing the issue with.
Okay, yeah. All right. So what I'm talking about is when we stream from StreamYard to YouTube to other platforms, what I experience, and I'd like to hear what you experience, but what I experience is that on YouTube, it doesn't stream directly. Like it takes a while for it to finally show up on your channel, which means the people who get to watch it as a replay on YouTube. It's not live when you stream through StreamYard. Am I wrong? Does anybody have a different experience?
No, I'm streaming through StreamYard to YouTube now. I'm watching on YouTube. I'm saying
people are seeing live on YouTube now.
Yeah, you stream instantly. Yeah, they stream all of us. Like, it's streamed. Like,
Mm,
there shouldn't be a problem. I don't know what. There shouldn't be a
no,
delay.
no, no.
So it depends
Tolu
on
is
your
right.
settings. No,
Hold
it
on.
depends on your
Hold
settings.
on. Right. Hold
Tolu
on.
is right. Tolu is right. Tolu is
Chloe is
right. When
right.
you're streaming,
Chloe is
someone is
right.
streaming from Nigeria,
Oh, I see.
there is
Uh,
some delay. There's some much more
Okay.
delay, and
Okay.
it's a Mbps delay.
Okay. I
It's a
see.
delay of the link, the upload link.
Yeah, because I can see mine going to my channel.
mm, mm.
So that's the
Okay.
problem for me because people can't watch it live, and
Mm.
so it's almost like the whole point is lost. So I thought,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
let's try side by side. If we do a live on YouTube and then we stream from StreamYard to LinkedIn and to maybe Facebook and
Mm.
see if they can run side by side. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
worth
I agree. Now let's try it. We're gonna try it. So let's try it.
okay.
Come on, good. Now
Thank you.
let's come back to this topic.
Maybe
No,
not
Now,
now.
yeah,
No,
you're
not now. It's
Not
tomorrow.
now.
now
Don't.
this is our the marriage series tomorrow at
Okay.
6 p.m. UK time. So 6 p.m. BST, same time. So 6 p.m. West African time as well. I don't know what that is. 6 p.m. was
Yeah,
1
6 p.m.
p.m. BST. So
Okay.
Okay.
Tolu, please, can you put your YouTube handle
mm.
on the
Okay.
chart? Yeah, I don't
Okay.
even know you have YouTube, so I want to
Yeah,
be your subscriber. I want to be your subscriber.
yeah. If you put it there, I'm sure more of us will subscribe as well.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Put it.
Thanks, coach.
We subscribe to your channel.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
If you haven't subscribed to
Thank
my
you so
channel,
much.
I would
Professor,
Oh,
I
say
I
said
did.
it's on you.
just
So I look forward to attaining her purpose.
Uh,
awesome. Right.
Thank you
So
so much.
what's your why for your 14 books?
Hmm. Okay, so I started, most of the books are for children, right? So I started out wanting parents really to be able to connect with their children and vice versa over stories. Because I just realized that if you're trying to teach a child, say a 5 year old, a 6 year old, the concept of gratitude or how to overcome an entitlement mindset or how to focus, it's not so easy if you're using those words. Like, how do you connect with a child on that level? So I found that as a parent, I found it easy with my kids to just tell them a story and they could relate to the characters in the story. So it was a case of sharing that experience with other parents and seeing what would happen from that. And then at the end of each of those stories, there's the engagement where each child gets to ask their parents questions relating to the story, but more questions that would make their parents kind of share a bit of themselves with the children. So I was trying to create that bonding experience also of children with their parents over storytelling. So that's my why for them. Yeah. And I thought it was a good tool to use.
Yeah, I think that again, it's a beautiful insight into your thinking, Tulu, for sure.
Sorry, I didn't get that. I think your
I
voice was
say,
breaking.
I think it's it's a beautiful insight into your thinking and your why. Is
and
it me
Chloe,
or is your connection? Is there a delay in what I say or I don't know?
no, you're okay. But
Okay.
Tanya's does the same thing.
Yeah, like sometimes it's like all the like, when you play with tech, things always happen, right? That's the
But
issue. Okay,
Hulu is very cultural. So my family shared a lot of stories. That's how we start out dinners. We talk about history. Whereas I've been at like boyfriends' houses with their parents, and they're like, "How are the Cubs? How's the weather?" Like nothing, anything of substance.
Mm,
And I'm like, I don't like this. This is not how I grew up. But it is definitely like cultural and per family. So you're an educated woman. So some people don't necessarily have that. And also I do believe it's like per country like how people task that, I guess. I don't know.
No, I think you have a point there, Joni. There's nothing that I may say, of course, maybe there's more things, but some of the biggest things that move us, that give us that why, is normally our trauma, past experience. Something that, and I've got on my wall, my pain is my gain. It really is. Because once we've experienced something, we want to help the world to better navigate that situation. Should they come across it? That's not,
Trauma, Annie.
eh?
It doesn't have to be trauma. It can be the opposite of trauma. It can be like really great things you want to share.
So
I
our experiences we're talking
listened
about.
to a podcast, Annie, that said, you know, why are we talking about red flags in relationships, and why don't we talk about green flags? Let's turn the story on green flags, because that is something positive. You can look at people and pick out like what happened to them in their childhood. Of course, we all had shit, but you know, like there is certain things about people that are so wonderful and positive. And I'm gonna go for green flags now.
Yeah, I agree, but I think even when I say we write from the point of trauma, I think it's normally a point. It's normally from the point of overcoming our trauma. We want to share the solutions that we found, the transformations that we've made. You know,
And
that's what we.
maybe like, oh, you don't have to share that transformation. Maybe you can just share that like there is really good points in your life.
People feel strongly about their traumas, Joni.
About the egg, all right?
Look, so our traumas. I'm just saying. I'm just giving you a list of that. I'm not going to tell whether it's right or wrong. I'm saying, you know, people's traumas is where many people write from. The second thing that really does motivate us is family. Yeah, and we come to many guys. Is Toulouse mentioned her kids. Like Coach that has his family connections. You do too, Joni, right? And so does Dr. Rosanna. You know, and so like, when I say come to many guys, sometimes it is to educate, to entertain. Other times it is, you know, to build to leave a legacy. You know, part of the reason I do what I do and I write is to show my kids that we can, and then maybe it's also partly emulates my granddad who wrote many books that's still celebrated today, even though they're not on Amazon. You know, literally, you know, he wrote his books many years ago, so he died 25 years ago. So I guess you know idea, right? But his books, his writings, his pamphlets, they're still out there. And when people come across them, especially Nigerian people who know him, they're like, how you his grandson? I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. You know, are you with me?
Those any?
I've got one or two. Yeah,
Well, I make copies of those copies so that you can keep them around for your grandchildren, because that's wonderful. That's
I might look at it. Now you mentioned, I'm probably going to talk to my sister and see whether they want to do anything with it, because
I know
it can be updated and republished.
For instance, Annie, my mom's parents died when I was young. They were wonderful, and her family fell apart, like literally fell apart. Like 6 brothers and sisters just at war over stuff, and all their stuff got lost. And I still have a couple pictures of my grandparents laying, like holding hands on the beach, and their marriage picture, and I have a picture of all of us in like their like little swimming pool, like with their grandfather smoking a cig, and it was joy. It was pure joy to me up until 5th grade, and then that was lost. And so, seeing those pictures still means something to me. And so I encourage you to make sure that you have copies of those, because that's important.
Yeah, no, I agree. I will do better. I'll be a better grandson than I have been so far. But look,
All right, better grandfather too. Granddad, how old are
yeah,
your kids?
How old my youngest is 16, so
I know he likes the t-shirts and the brands and whatnot. Got it.
the other two are in their 30s. They don't really care. They're doing their lives. So
Where are
that's all.
they? Are they near you?
They will care. Yeah.
Who is it?
Our oldest son is, our daughter is in London, so and it's small matter of 6 hours away. You know,
Do
but
they?
we'll have grandkids. Again, now they will be inspired by seeing what we can do. You know, all of us, you know, we are the face of our families today and probably going forward. Our books is what our kids will be talking about, and so for me, this is just my part of my why. It is about showing our kids that we can find a place in the world. I was talking to a friend earlier, and the reality many people don't realize, is that we can still, now us black people can still walk into a room of hundreds in 2025, and we're the only black person there. That's odd. That's really odd, right? It's odd. We don't talk about it too much, but to me, it's just, I want others to know that they can, and they, they could, they should. Without saying, I'm going to force you. I'm saying, but no, only by showing them that is how we're going to get them to other people to rise and realize what's in front of them. That's what I'm trying to say. Look, let's talk about number 2 very quickly.
Just so you know, I walked into a dinner on Tuesday night, all black people and former friends of mine, still friends of mine. I just haven't seen them in a while. And like half gay, half not gay. And my voice couldn't even be heard. Like they were so loud. I was like, yo, I'm here. I'm here. Hi. Hi, I'm Joni. I was like, I just like, I have something to contribute. Nah. But it was I felt at home. So that's non-relevant. Okay.
No, I'm sure for someone like Tolu, it's a strange thing to say. You can walk into a room with no black people apart from you. It's been in Nigeria.
Well, I am in Nigeria now, but I have traveled to different places, and I was in Canada. I've been in a number of places. I went to Dubai. You would feel like a minority. But I think one of the things that I have noticed, and I'm interested to hear what other people think. I think that Nigerians who live in Nigeria into adulthood tend to be quite confident. Like, if you haven't experienced racism in childhood, you don't really expect it. You're a bit surprised by it. Like, what's wrong with this person? It doesn't.
I agree.
Like water off a duck's back. Yeah, it doesn't hurt as much as people who have lived under it and have that as their paradigm. I don't know. That's a perception I have. I may be wrong.
For me, I said those exact words when I came. I was born in the UK, went to Nigeria as a baby, came back at 13. And when the kids were doing their racism stuff at school, I did not understand till I was just like, that kid, that's a problem. He's not me. It's nothing to do with me. I don't know what they're going about, because I know who I am, and I know I'm cleverer than most of them anyway. So, I agree with you entirely, Tolu, that confidence that you do have, right? And so maybe in the world of work, I don't know. I think part of me, again, feel free, Dr. Roxana, feel free, any of you really, coach as well, right? I think somewhere in our journey, Tolu, we let things take away our passion, take away our belief in ourselves. I truly believe something goes wrong somewhere. Where many lose the will to really. Maybe they just don't know. Maybe that's what it is, right? That's why we talk the way we talk these days. They lose the will to stand out, the will to excel, the will to get to the top, the will to be that person who does something different. Look, I've got many clients, and some clients would not be seen at all,
Oh
ever.
dear.
They
Sorry,
won't
I think I
show up.
missed the last.
So I got some clients who will show up anywhere. I say, no, I'm saying, we'll do events, my friend. You have to do events for your brand. I can't be the face of your brand. And they're like, no, I'm too shy. Oh, oh no, I'm not good enough. I'm not good looking enough. You're like, what's wrong with you? What's really, where have you lost your mojo? Because this matters because they have a strong why. They're doing what they're doing. They're creating products and services, right? But they haven't got the confidence to face the world and be that person who's doing all that. They find a way to try and hide behind other people, and even other people, or even worse, they hide behind pictures on social media, never to be seen by anyone in real life. That's just odd. I just find that astonishing. I don't know why, and I say that I'm sure there's many reasons why, Tulu. I'm sure we might come back to this on another day. But look, I want to address the second question. Hold on, Joni. I want to say address the second question on our list. If I say at least, then everyone can think about it and then give us an answer. Then we'll call it a day. Come back and talk about the other three questions. Right. The second question really is this, my friends. We talked about the why. Know your why. Be clear about your why. See, there's two parts to writing a book. There's two sets of whys. The first why is yours. Why, which you must feel in your heart, as we've said already. The second why is your readers. Why would they want to read your book? Right? So let's begin in the first place, which in the first, and when it comes to your readers, which is, who are they? How do you know who they are? How much do you know about your readers? Anyone, feel free, jump in. Really,
Yeah,
who,
can I just say just a little bit? We do some wherever you do your researching, market research will be there. Some of the things they give you in Google, they will be listing some market research there also. So you want to know the research, the group of people that will be reading your book, uh, reader survey and feedback too. You want to when you do that market research, you also see some feedback. By the way, if you go type in YouTube now and type something that is being researched, a whole lot of people are actually talking about that, and that is how people get what to write about. If you want actually to get a topic that works, that will give you a lot of views, you go to the research. So you see that YouTube is actually a place you can go and research something, just like Google. Okay, so and if I'm writing a book and I want, like I wrote passive income, I went and researched books about passive income. I saw the number of people who are writing on it and on it. Actually, I saw so many posts on YouTube that are talking about research. I watched some of the videos from them, and actually, from what they're saying and from the way they did, you pick your topic, the way you frame your topic. So you research, market research matters a lot. Well, you don't have to people go to book clubs, but you don't have to go to book clubs. It's enough to actually ask your AI, Google, or go to Pinterest. There are so many places you can research. You can actually go to YouTube and you see that there's a lot of things anything you want to know, you really have them if you know where to go. All these AIs, they spit out the things you need to asking for before you ask them. And so you now choose online communities. I belong to a lot of communities online. Sometimes you see you're having a meeting by 10 p.m. Because they live in, as I belong to some meetings, we're having a meeting and it is 1 a.m. Oh, this is my time to sleep. But anyway, the important thing is that what are we meeting for? We want to see where we agree on this topic. And so we can, reading reviews and a lot of critics, a lot of communities, conventions, when teachers, not just teachers, when let me call them professionals, when professionals gather together, they are hammering on some important topics. Is it about the children? How do we do this better? Is it going to affect education in future? And so those are all contributing to the dynamics. So that's why education, nothing is static now. Nothing is static. A lot of things are dynamics. So we have to research things, find the what people have to say, what people are saying right now, and not it's not what they said 1 year ago. It's what they are saying the last 3 months. That
Yeah.
is what. Yeah. Okay. I think.
No,
I,
thank you. Beautifully said. Beautifully said, Dr. Roxana. Look,
I have
again,
a question though.
go for it.
Sorry, Annie. But sometimes when I hear a conversation like this, and I agree with Professor Roxana, especially if the entire focus of the book is sales. You want to max out on, getting as many people engaged on the matter on the subject of the book or the content of the book as possible, then yes. But sometimes, what do you do when you feel like you have an answer to a problem, but it's not what people are looking for actively because they don't know to? Is that okay to write a book about that, or is it a waste of your time?
can
I
I
don't know if that
ask,
makes sense.
can I speak on that, Annie?
Yeah.
Of course you
Okay.
can.
Yeah, Tolu. This what you have in mind, maybe aching your heart, and some people are also thinking about it, but they haven't written it down. So maybe if you put your voice, whatever you are thinking about down or write in a book, you see you have actually answered some other people's questions, solved a problem that people are aching about, like marriage series, like the book you wrote. There are people who has answered so many questions already because some of the fights inside the room, they never told you about that. But you wrote them down so that some people learned, okay, well, that's the way we could take care of this. Maybe some people could have seen it earlier, maybe saved their marriage, but it's okay even if it is not. If it's too late, you can save my children and grandchildren's time. So I got the book. My book is in the library for my kids to see
Hmm.
because they are married already, but you never know what they did.
I think that
And
there
there's
is.
something.
Wait, give me 1 second, and I'll give you the mic, my friend. Give me 1 second. I think what Dr. Roxana say is vitally important. Do the research, my friends. Don't be lazy. Do the research, right? Now, there's a million and one reasons why you really want to know your readers inside out. Now, the Roxana's point was, don't just say I'm writing for kids. Don't just say I'm writing for women. Know who they are. Know what they read. Know what they're asking about today. Know what bothers them. Know what the problems are. Hell, know what solution they've tried already that didn't work. Because your book is an upgrade on the solutions that they now have, right? The tools that they have. Get to know your readers really well. I think this ties in with why, where you need to emotionally resonate with your reader. You have to feel your readers, feel their pain, feel genuinely understand where the gaps are for them, understand what they need from you. There's see most if we go back to the AI point, we can all write a book that's generic. That's not going to meet your reader's needs, especially if you know them well. If you know them well, your readers are looking for something that is not always obvious. Let me give you an example. I've done sales training. I'm sure many of you have done sales training too, right? Sales training. Many of us think we go to sales training to learn sales skills. We don't. We go to sales training to get confidence to talk to people about the sales stage of our conversation. Are you with me? That's an understanding of people who come to sales training. I'm saying, what is it your readers are really looking for? You must understand them inside out. Dr. Leslie, welcome. So I'm saying that I'm talking from your book, from your handbook. And so I realized today that we can't not necessarily we can't cover the whole handbook in one sitting. We just can't. When you get to number two, do you know your ideal reader? How much do you really know about them? So
Oh, but
if
any.
Can I say something?
go for it, Coach. I'll let you go. Then Jody, I'll come
Just
to you. Okay.
just a minute. Literature review
Mm.
is a very pivotal part of writing. What have the previous authors said about that area? Then what are the gaps that now exist in the body of knowledge? Another beautiful one is what are the practices already being done that nobody has captured into writing? It's done, people already doing it, but it's not written down or captured or thoroughly researched. The third one is that even if somebody has written about that area, there's also your own flavor or your own story. So, until the making of books, there shall be no end. I think the bigger question is how and where do great book ideas come from? What is the ideation process of master bestsellers? Welcome, Leslie. Good to see you. What is the ideation process for master storytellers? How do you craft your idea? And there are numerous of such occasions. A point of pain, a point of pressure, a point of pleasure, a point of uh, joy, a moment of stress. There are many of those moments in our existence, moments that a lot of people can identify with, and any book that will help them in that area will definitely do it because there's a niche. The other thing I like to say is from what Prof said is begin with the end in mind. Also think through what that industry would ever need or what people need in that area. Those are very deep questions that we may also want to look at. Yeah, that I yield the floor.
Honey, mute, Professor
Eh,
Roxana.
Uh,
Okay.
Annie, where are you?
He had leave for a second.
And he left the building.
I really like Toulouse idea. I just like talking about whether or not people feel more empowered being around like their hometown or moving away for opportunities. And so I would love to have a conversation about that because I don't know a lot of people here in Chicago. I moved away from my family and I miss that. And so, Tulu, I like your idea on how maybe in Nigeria, men are a little bit stronger. And I have to go pretty soon, just like any. But I wanted to tell you guys a fun fact because fun facts are
Go,
always fun. And
go.
do you guys know that honey never spoils? They found a 30,000-year-old bottle of honey in an Egyptian tomb, and it was fine. And like just the right amount of like pH balance, whatever it must be, but no bacteria can infiltrate honey. And I think that's really cool. So, you know what? There you go. There's a fun fact.
Johnny, 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 I'm curious. If you were offered 30,000-year-old honey, would you eat it?
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Why not?
okay.
Oh,
Again,
Oh,
if
okay.
yes, I would. I'm not
first
afraid
of
of
all,
nothing, girl. But 30,000 years is still intact. Like no bacteria can get in honey because of the way, like the protein. I don't know. I am not a food scientist, but I heard this fact and it is true. And I'm
No,
like,
just
whoa.
no bacteria doesn't mean it doesn't degrade. Are you sure it's still the same quality, everything?
No, I am not sure. I did not find this myself.
Right. I went to
I've worked with a beekeeper. I've worked with a beekeeper before, and because of the way the bees use it, literally they use it and then make more. Right? I'm saying so. I can well accept that.
And I know another fact about
Not wrong
bees.
with it.
If you would like one more fact,
Great.
I will leave you with one
well,
more fact. None of the younger bees have a father because the
Mm,
queen bee wants to keep her lineage, so she has sex with her father. So all the younger bees only have grandfathers.
mm.
Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
yeah. Well, no,
So the younger bees do not get a mate with the queen, and so yeah,
the boys get thrown out after a while. They get
I'm like
thrown
that's
out to go
kind
and
of
make choice
disgusting,
other
but
hives.
I get the lineage part. Okay,
Yes. No, thank you, Janie. Thank you so much. Thank you. Look, please join us again for the next one.
I
And
will.
we'll
Of
do have to
course.
get your book
Yes.
finished, Janie. Have to log into your Amazon with you there.
Let's talk
Welcome,
about it.
Linda. Welcome, Linda. Glad
Absolutely.
you're
Get on that idea. That's a great one.
here. Look, I love this. I love this from Dr. Leslie. She says, I guess our books, maybe our ideas come from thought energy, from creative imagination, and it is a. I guess this puts the fact that the questions that we're trying to answer before we write our books, it's a mindset issue. It's a mindset concept we're trying to
Exactly.
put into practice here. It's like the lesson talk about co-creation with the universe. That comes from clarity, real clarity about who we're writing for, why we're writing. That's the point, right? With the right mindset, we will find those gems that our readers really need. That's when I said earlier, why me? Why am I writing the book? Why are you writing your book? What makes you the person? It's because you've got those gems, you've got those things, those. Journey talk about fun facts. I'm saying we've all got fun facts that our readers really need, right? That's why we write books. Otherwise, why bother? But no, so we really must approach this and really want to understand our readers. And which is question number three. Now, which is how are we alleviating their pain? What are we really solving for them? Again, my friends, look, write these things down. Don't assume. If you want to go and check out Dr. Leslie's handbook or workbook, if I call it instead, that's what she calls it. Just say connect with her. So she gave me this workbook. Say about a year ago. 5 questions to help you know your purpose as an author. Do connect with Dr. Leslie in the comments. If you need help, let me know. But everyone should have this guide. That's why I took it off her. And today's just a day I want to start talking about it. I'm saying we need to have that solid foundation that we're coming from. It can't just be we write a book because we're bored or because we think we can help someone. Go into detail. How can you help someone? Who can you help? Not just the age, what's Dr. Osama said it all. What you read, they say all my friends. Literally, what are they reading? What are they buying? What are they doing? What are they asking? When you say we have to do the research, that's at the heart of all of this, right? We have to know, we have to know what to look for. I'm going to bring the research that authors do as a conversation, probably after going through this workbook in the next couple of weeks, right? Now, what research do you do? I want to, it would help us to learn that we can be better writers, better authors when our time comes.
Um,
Coach,
yeah,
I don't know how you work on the topic. I don't know whether Mr. Lewis spoke
yes,
on the
there
topic
is. Yeah,
on the
yeah,
read.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yes, you're very spot on again. There is total addressable market. How many people in a demography does that problem affect?
Mm, mm,
How many people have that moment?
mm,
There's something called the moment in the life of the consumer. There was a time that cars, if you see cars, there's a time that cars had very big interiors. Over the years, you notice that interiors of cars have become compacted. There's a research behind that. As more women began to use cars, the distance between the steering, if you've driven Mercedes Benz, the old Mercedes Benz, the Mercedes Benz that is steel, that is heavy metal, that the when you're driving Mercedes Benz, there's the Mercedes, those ones when they crash, when they crash, the other car is gone, and the Mercedes Benz, you see, pick up the those Mercedes Benz. If you see a woman driving it, she's driving it very timid. It's too much reinforced steel.
Mm.
Number two, it's too heavy. Number two, if there's a baby or a child, this is what the research says, and there's a problem, they can't reach the child. That body of research forced automobile manufacturers all over the world to begin to design cars. The modern Mercedes-Benz cars, no matter how big it looks on the outside, on the inside, if a woman were to be driving, she would reach her baby very easily. This happened from observation. The designers of Mercedes-Benz were just observing what are the pain points of society. In the grocery stores, there are everyday moments and pain periods. Watch out for those moments. Be an observer of life and watch out for the unconscious, unsaid, unprinted, unscripted moments of pain. Like, for example, the communication between parents and their children that Tolu is handling is a genius one. Parents are struggling. What about teenage parents and teenagers? There are some general moments of the human soul. No matter the language you come from, it's a general moment. It's called the moment in the life of the human being. It's a psycho-emotional point of humanity. Those are places to write from.
I agree.
Number two, okay, yes, Prof. Ma.
I'm just making sure that Annie is giving me permission.
Yeah, please. The mic is
Okay,
yours.
I'm not
Yes,
trying to interrupt you. What you're saying is actually good, but I think one thing I do actually know is that there are so many books to be written. There are so many things we put our mindset on. There are things that I might have to wake up when I wake up in the morning. I think about so many things. I do think that when something bothers my mind so much that I want to put it down, I will also, it's going to be good to also research what people are saying about that topic. That will give, it's not just about sales. It's not just
I
about
agree.
sales. It's just about making sure that you're hitting the point. There are people, you see, it could be the universe or God gave me the that to write about. But I know there are so many other people who worship God. I know so many other people who actually obey what this universe is. So what my mindset, see, it's a mindset shift to actually be thinking, not just being static, to be dynamic, to be thinking, to be, but it's also good. So, okay, if I'm thinking like this, we are in this world. I'm in this world with billions of people. It would be good for me to be communicating some other people's thought, or trying to say what they need for people to actually get what I'm saying. So,
I agree.
do you,
I agree, Prof.
okay,
I agree.
okay.
That's point number two. Point number one is those zones. There's a general zone. And the fact that you are connecting with that zone means that you are a being. And if it keeps, there's a principle called the principle of the dominant desire. If it keeps coming back and keeps coming back and keeps coming back, and you keep noticing it, you are a being of solution in that realm. If a question keeps finding you, you are a being of solution. So, step two is to find other like-minded people, read around it, research around it. Many times you will find a genius point in that zone. There's a particular perspective you would have, a particular answer. In fact, just listening to other authors and the pain. So authors are actually solution providers. In between the problem and the people, in between the problem and the solution, in between those two places. And anyway, one of the beautiful things about creativity is that it's large enough so that you are allowed to even fall into what you don't understand yet.
Mm.
In advertising, one of the uses of creativity is to solve problems that have no definition. When you have a market problem and it's not properly defined, give it to the creative boys. They'll craft an ad that will meet the occasion and drag everybody in a certain direction. You can even be an amplifier of the problem.
Mm.
You can even be a writer amplifying and bringing the problem to the fore, difficult
Yeah.
conversations. But don't walk away from those moments that your soul resonates with over and over and over. There's also something many people don't do. Many aspiring writers don't have personal mood, emotions, and feelings journals.
Mm.
Journal your thoughts, your mood, your emotions, and your internal deepest feelings. This is what we found out. Every time I did this experiment for people I've coached, 90% of the time, your thoughts and dominant desires typically keep revolving like a spiral around the same subject. It's so super amazing. If you were someone that wanted to write a lot or travel the world a lot, at 45, 50, you find yourself writing the same goal again in another set of words. It's called life congruence analysis. If you keep
Mm.
journaling and chronicling your thoughts and imaginations deeply, you find some certain themes that repeatedly over the years, you'll be shocked. Okay, wow, wow. As you do, those zones are places to now do what Prof said, internalize, assimilate, look at other authors, look at
Work,
other problems,
work some
work on it
communities
with the
and forums
communities.
I'm talking about.
Gradually, new answers are going to come to you. And you may want to stay as an exploratory person in that zone. I'm just documenting and helping us to conscientize, bring the questions from abstract to what
Mm.
is concrete. That
Yeah.
these are the questions.
Yeah, define.
Exactly. You can leave it as school of thought. You don't have
Mm.
to everything that leads to a solution. We can leave it as school of thought. We can leave it as a chronological analysis. You can use creative polemics. You can do
Mm.
creative writing. You can go satirical. You can do whatever. You may want to shock society by doing drama. We had that in Nigeria a lot. People wanted to talk about the military era. People began to create drama. Of course, some editors disappeared because the drama was too strong, was too
Mm.
close to reality. But if you want to be a solution provider, then we must now go towards some scientific understanding. At that point, you cross the boundary from just a general thinker into science. That
Yeah.
point, we will need things like hypotheses, we will
Research,
need research,
research,
we will
yeah.
need literature review, documentation, if you want to take it in that direction.
Mm.
I had this challenge, Prof. I had this challenge when I was writing this book, the book I just launched, this book, because there were many prophetic ecosystem and dynamics, applying prophecy and things like intuition to everyday life and different areas of industry.
Mm.
There is no author who has done this. First of all, it's a bold idea. Second of all, I could be criticized to death, but I've learned how to be outlier. I've learned how to be conscious with it. I can put on a red suit. No, few men can, and I will do the drama. I'm actually introverted on the inside. I can be the odd one out for a season. So I'm
Mm.
comfortable with being criticized. I'm comfortable with being told you're stupid. Those things don't bother me. I will pretend, in fact, I'll pretend like I'm moved so that people don't feel I'm arrogant. But deep down, I'm doing something. So when I stumbled on this, and it's not stumbling, I've observed over the years that people demonstrate these capacities. I know a medical doctor who told me, I think I shared this with you, and who told me that their mental patients will have died under her care if not that she got extra intelligence. She would know that, and the medical science says this, but she knew by an inspiration of the Holy Spirit in her heart that this is going to go this way. And then she acted, and she had it repeatedly, not once, not twice, not thrice. And I have different kind of experiences like that to my own career too. So I began to write and look deep through it. Now, nobody is sufficiently strong on the intellectual community because you're going to run into a lot of intellectual problems. But then I stumbled upon some things in science. For example, the guy who formed the benzene ring, the first person who drew the benzene ring, Kekule, said that there was no precedence. They were looking for what the structure of benzene ring looked like. Nobody could find it. He had a dream, DREAM. He drew it. Finally, several years later, Kekule was right.
Mm.
That was the structure of the benzene ring. Science
Mm.
began to take a look back that, wait, that means that then they began to form a lot of theories. That's atom upon atom, the atom can communicate to atom. What's my bigger point? Writers must also be bold. There may be uncharted territory. So you won't find enough literature. You won't find it, which is a bad problem and a good problem. Bad in that you won't have reference if you want to do a PhD or serious academic research. But if you are ready to do entrepreneurial and you're ready, you don't care whose else is God, you're just writing and you want to just live out your dream, and you have sufficient intellectual capacity and belief to push it through, write it out. Knowing that you can be antagonized, that can be the end of your career. People can say you are lying.
That's
That
fine.
leads me. So the last point is: so are you ready to be the ambassador of the material? So if they say, okay, these theories now, can we test you? How true is it? How many people will say they validate the experience? Can you also be an ambassador of it? Those are the issues on the table. But at the end of the day, the general process is what are the things that resonate with you, and who are the people that have written in that area before? What are the materials in that area? What do society need in that area? And like that, your own idea would form.
Yeah, look, I agree with you and Professor. Doing the research is key for sure. And it is about going the extra mile to understand your readers, understand your reader and the problems they have. I say,
Linda has a comment I think is
yeah,
important.
I say we'll address the issues that people may have in number 3 next week. The Linda says some write books for an income and broaden education and knowledge. I agree, of course they do. But even then, you're only going to make an income from your books when you have a strong why, and when you understand your readers and you actually want to buy these books, right? So Linda, I agree with you entirely. Of course they do, and some write books, for historical, they call it legacy. That's a simple way of putting it, Linda. I think, but again, like I said a few minutes ago, if you were here, um, writing for legacy, writing to impact our family positively, or to tell our family stories in a way that would last longer than we're going to last on this earth. That's a huge driver, right? Writing for our kids to be inspired, writing for our kids to see our story in years to come, and to know that we are part of the author sphere. That's a magic thing, right? Madam Tolu, I want to come to you before we go, right? So how far do you go to understand your readers?
Okay, so I've talked about the children's books, right? But I think it was a bit different with Raging Waters. Raging Waters was not for children, it was for adults, and specifically, it was addressing a problem. So we realized that for over a decade, we've been counseling couples, my husband and I, and it became clear that a lot of couples are blindsided by matters like infidelity. Like they don't see it coming, they're shocked by it, and then they're devastated by it. And there are common trends. If you study it, if you watch the patterns, there are certain things that happen in the marriage relationship before they get there. We also realize that infidelity is not really it's not necessarily an event, which is what many people approach it as. You toy with it, toy with it, toy with it until boom, something happened. Oh, I'm so shocked. How did this happen? Many times there are patterns, there are trends, there are things that people are doing or subjecting themselves to that are leading them in a particular direction. So it's easy to see how, in hindsight, you have 2020 vision. It's easy to see how this can happen. Now, how do we help couples to prevent themselves from getting into that mess before they get there? Because when they get there, they have to deal with all the fallout, all the problems, societal problems, emotional, psychological, the devastation to the relationship itself, to the children. How can we prevent that? And so this story came around from compiling bits of those stories, developing a concept around it, and presenting a story that is relatable, but that also communicates the ideas that we have to help people to see, look, this is something that is real, but that can be avoided if you understand. You can find yourself and say, okay, I'm actually on my way to this thing if I don't do something about it. So let's put it in a story and help people to see that. And I think that was what led to that book.
Tremendous, tremendous. Again, look, nothing beats talking to your readers, the people you're writing for. That's what I'm taking from your share. You know, the more you talk to your potential readers, the
Yeah.
more you're going to know what the questions are, and what they're thinking are, and where, what the coach mentioned, where the gaps are. You know,
Yes.
sometimes it's where the traps are as well. By the way, you know, they wouldn't tell us some of the traps because some of the generic knowledge that we seem to that is out there doesn't work, and
Mm-mm.
this is where the research comes in. You're not going to know what's out there if you don't know what's out there. How do you know where you're adding necessarily? Often
Mm.
you don't. You know, and yes, the coach. I mean, I accept your point. You know, research is not always to find what you're trying to say. It makes you realize that what you have to say hasn't been said before, and it's not in your way, not in your audience. You know, but I've been talking to getting to really know what your readers are thinking. You know, your target audience, call it what you like, but to really know what the problems are. You know, I think your Raging Waters book to me that one of the genius things in that book is the fact that you're not talking to the kids, you're talking to the parents. You know, about adult, the parents' issues. Is it not many? As Roxana said, not many have done that.
Mm.
And so you know that's what positions your book as something unique. And
Yeah.
good on you. Rightly so, you're a best-selling book now.
Thank you.
It is on my table. So look, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, all three of you, thanks so much those who joined us in the audience. Thank you so much those who are going to watch on a replay. You know, say do engage. You know, I would say and do connect with my genius friends. They're the ones who make these shows happen. They really are. Look, you know, so I'm going to come back in 2 weeks' time with the next set of 3 questions, and then we'll talk about the research that authors ought to do, might want to do, will benefit from doing, you know, and how. We do need to know, right? I think we really do need to know. Those on my YouTube, and please like today's video, comment, and watch other videos. Subscribe, of course, if you're there as well, and watch other videos. Watch many other videos. Just, I'll stop saying watch. What I say now is just play. Press play on the next video.
Right?
Press play
Okay.
and turn around and walk away. Just let it play
Okay.
In
on.
fact, what
You need to be creating
Come back later and then comment and then like, right?
um a- and you need to
Um,
be creating some shorts too. Shorts
Right.
help you. Yeah, shorts.
they make me feel ill, Dr. Roxana.
Huh?
They make me feel ill.
Shorts make you feel ill.
Yeah. Oh no no no! You just have to. The things that come
No,
in your mind is what you just say within 1 minute, and you post it.
you see, but I've got my I got my 1 minute marketing magic tips. I've been doing those for years.
Okay, okay. Are they in your? You have to
Yeah,
post them.
yeah. They're my YouTube channel. Again,
Yeah.
my about those is that if someone watches 10 of them, Dr. Roxana gives me 10 minutes watch time. That's nothing. You know, these events. So now we've done 2 hours and 11 minutes so far. I'm saying that's a real watch hours thing, right? Gives my watch hours goes up. In my watch hours is 99.9% more than it was this time last year.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good though.
Anthony, please.
No, but I think what Professor Oksana is saying also plays a role, right? Like, take for example, if for this video you have 3 questions and you have a short that says, here are some questions that people ask. 1, 2, 3. And those questions pique some curiosity. Some people who watch those shorts may now look for this video because you could link this video to that short and they
Mhm.
would be more inclined to watch this one on
And
the replay.
and then let me tell you, this is what gives you more.
I don't,
Okay.
I don't respect. I don't respect social media. It's not. I don't really care about that. Yeah, this YG, welcome. Now Tolu, I can make sure I can extract them from this StreamYard easily, free.
Right.
But I don't enjoy I don't know. I just don't enjoy it. I guess I was most shocked. I was most shocked when
Hmm.
I realized that it's my lives that suddenly made my numbers shoot up. I'm saying really that my subscribers are probably 100 more than they were this time last year.
Hmm.
I don't do much. I just do events, and of course, I categorize my videos afterwards. It
Okay.
takes me a while. It takes me a few days, a few weeks, right? But literally, I do eventually put them in playlists and
Okay.
key keywords and so on and so forth. I do all that stuff. Some people are very good at shorts. Now, Dr. Lisa Fevek, she's brilliant. You know when I do that thing to Luke? That is so good. I can't do it. I refuse to do it. I could do it. I just refuse. Right?
Why? You do it with swag, and you just do like,
I just refuse.
Is that music or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's music and it's a look on your face as well.
yeah, just
Okay.
Look down there.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm gonna have to try and do that.
I haven't got it.
I'm
Anyway,
so
look, anyone who's on my YouTube channel, I love you. I truly appreciate you. If you've never been to my YouTube channel, my friends, I'll put the link in the comments. Do go
yeah,
along. And
Let me put
anyone
the link
for
in
you,
in the comments too.
yeah, please put your YouTube channels there. Why not?
Yeah, let me put
Coach, have
my.
you got a YouTube channel? Coach, are you
Mm,
on YouTube? Are you? Sure, you
Yes,
are.
on my YouTube channel. Yeah, let me just put the
Brilliant.
link there.
Please do. Please do. Look, I need to let you leave because my next room is starting sometime.
Oh, okay.
You
All right.
know. But
Alright.
so we're currently talking about this for sure. Now, Professor Roxana and Tolu and Coach, because you're three of my favorite authors, you must do some more events around your book.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. My other book is coming, so
Yes.
finish that one. So I will do event on that.
Okay. What about the other two and the other three? Should I say?
Okay, we will. We'll do some events on them.
I didn't say with me. I just said that you don't should be doing a lot more events. Talk about more about your books. You have to talk about
Okay.
your books.
Okay.
All right.
Otherwise people will
I
forget.
actually have been thinking about it. I will. I will.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Now, Linda, thanks for joining us. I truly appreciate you. And Linda says, thank you all. Stay amazing. I appreciate it all. Thank you. We appreciate you too for being here. Giving us
Thank you
any
so
time
much.
for your
Yeah.
engagement. Right, my friends, look, go in the comments afterwards and do engage with people. Comment. Respond to comments if they're important to you, and engage with my friends. Connect with people. Meet them, talk to them, get to know what they do. Try and find those opportunities that are there somewhere, right? So I'm gonna say goodbye to our friends, and so we're gonna end the show. Enjoy, my friends. Enjoy. Take care. Bye,
Thank you so
everyone.
much, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
And,
Put your book links in the comments as well. We can know where to have to buy your books.
I just
Okay.
subscribed to your channel.
Yay!
Yeah, I just no, I'm talking about Tolu. I already subscribed to your channel.
It's
Don't
fine. It's
worry.
fine. I've changed. I've changed the same way. We all need our YouTube to grow. We need to monetize
Yes,
YouTube.
everybody should.
We all do.
Yeah. So
Money in our account. Look, put a link to your books in the chat in
okay.
the comments if you can, because I know you've all got multiple books. So maybe you have to choose one to make it easier for you, right?
Yeah.
So
So
let's do that. Look, you take care, everyone. We're off.
okay.
Bye, 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 bye.
Bye.
so much. Bye.
Every step forward is a new beat to your drum.